For many of us, the day doesn't truly begin until we've had our cup of coffee. At least that's true when it comes to me. But when it comes to flavor, big names and supermarket standbys, they don't always deliver. According to ShopSmart's latest taste test coffee, Deputy Editor Sue Perry joins us with the findings. Sue, thank you so much for being here. We want to know, what do ShopSmart's expert taste testers look for in a good coffee?
Well, they look for smoothness, complexity. They're checking for flavor flaws. It's very much like wine tasting. You don't want something that's so bland. You want something with a little complexity. So, you know, a little tanginess or tartness, bitterness in your coffee is actually a good thing, not a lot of it. We also look for underripe beans. We also look for too charred a taste from the beans being too charred and roasted. So we look for things like that. We also want at least a moderate aroma and flavor coming out of the coffee. So we don't want anything too wimpy. Nobody wants that in their coffee.
I want to know what kinds of coffees were featured in your tests, and I want to know what you found.
Well, we wanted to just cover the pods, because pods are very popular these days. They're so convenient. They make a single cup, no mess, no measuring, no fuss. And typically, they're just not as good a cup of coffee as you get from grinding the beans yourself or using an already ground coffee. But of the 11 pods that we tested, Pete's actually stood out as being the best of the bunch. It was a little more complex. It had some nice caramel notes and fruity notes, where the others fell kind of flat. And the worst of the bunch in that group was the Folgers.
Now take me through some of the winners and, unfortunately, the losers.
We tested 37 varieties of coffee, and we tested 3 categories: the whole bean, the ground bean, and the pods. And we tested supermarket brands. We tested the big name brands like Folgers and Maxwell's. And we also tested the specialty coffees that you usually get online, or specialty coffee houses that can set you back about up to $19 a pound. So we covered the spectrum, and what we found was a little bit surprising is some of the big names that you're most familiar with, the Maxwell's, the U-Bands, the Folgers, they fell to the bottom of the list. They just could not hold their coffee cup up to the specialty coffees. And I'm talking about brands like Allegro, which you can get at Whole Foods. Stumptown is another one. Intelligentsia is another one. And Starbucks, their ground coffee, did very well in our test. It was one of our winners. But you're going to spend about 25 cents a cup for those versus, the bigger supermarket brands, which are cheaper. But also good news in terms of your pocketbook, you can get a good cup of coffee from some of the store brands that really won't set you back much money. Trader Joe's Joe, their whole bean coffee did well in our tests, and that'll set you back about $6 a pound, a little less. And Costco's Kirkland Signature blend, their house blend, did well in our tests as well, beating out those big store brands, and that'll set you back only about $5 a pound.
And ShopSmart also has some expert brewing advice that can help make for a better tasting coffee. Please give me those tips.
Well, any coffee, no matter how good the coffee is, if your water is kind of funky, your tap water in your house is a little funky, the coffee is going to pick up those flavors. So if you notice that in your tap water, we say it's much better to go and make your coffee with bottled water or filtered water. You're going to get a much better cup. And that's how we make our coffees in our tests.
And for more information about the findings of their survey, just head to mymassappeal.com a little bit later today.